皆さん、英語のそーたです。
Hey everyone, it's Sean.
Hey Sean, I've started something new.
Oh,
Did you notice that?
what did you start?
I've started cooking.
Nice.
Did you see my Instagram stories?
Yesterday,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
made a
yeah.
tomato soup.
tomato soup.
No, tomato.
Tomato.
Not tomato, tomato. Tomato soup.
Okay.
Yes. So I've started something new, which is cooking, and I'm trying to cook every day. So please check my Instagram stories, everyone, because I'll cook a lot, I guess.
Where are you getting your ideas from for cooking?
Oh, something my mom or family used to make or cook,
Okay.
but I need to, check. What is that? Google Pad? No, Google Pad. CookPad.
Oh, okay.
Or those
Like
Websites.
recipe websites and that kind
too.
of thing.
And I'm also wondering what kind of things you're eating, like foreigners living in Japan.
It's kind of case by case, but I mean, when I first moved to Japan, it was really hard to get used to the really small kitchen space. Because in England, we've got like huge kitchens, with like a huge oven, so we can make things that are slow roasted, like big chickens or whatever. But when I moved to Japan, I realized that I had to change what I was cooking because my kitchen space was literally just a sink and then a gas burner with 2 hobs and a small grill. So I had to really think, okay, what can I actually make with this? Kind of limited. But then when I started to look at, those kind of recipe websites that you've been looking at, I realized that I could be a little bit more experimental, making soups and broths and that kind of thing. But most of the time, I just put the rice cooker on. Put the rice cooker on before I go to work, and then when I come back, I've got some rice ready.
Just eating rice
With stuff on the top of it, I can put like some meat or something on the top.
and tomato.
Tomatoes, yeah. But yeah, most of the stuff that I eat comes with rice, but usually I'm eating out more than usual, I think.
I see. Yeah, because I wanted to know what kind of things you're eating, like shepherd's pie,
No, I wish I could cook a shepherd's pie.
morning breakfast.
Yeah.
Morning breakfast? What was that?
Full English breakfast.
Four.
Full.
Full English breakfast. I
Yeah.
totally forgot about the name.
I've tried making some British dishes in Japan, but it's really difficult to find all of the ingredients. Like we talked about in the food episode, like Japanese bacon and British bacon's very different. Sausages are very different too. It's difficult to find all of the same ingredients, so I'd love to try it, but yeah.
I'm always trying to remember the names, but I often forget them. So I forget the name and I forget about them. So
We'll have to go to England so you can actually try
and
them.
teach me
Yeah.
someday. はい、皆さん少しオープニングトークが長くなりましたが、僕、英語のソータ、最近自炊を始めまして、一人暮らしをね、最近始めたというご報告はしたと思うんですけれども、インスタグラム英語のソータにて昨日もちょうどトマトスープをね、作ってこう乗せるみたいなのをやってて、あと大根を剥きながらね、おしゃべりクッキング、ナスビ美味しいですねみたいな上沼恵美子さん風でこう喋りながらこうクッキングしていくみたいなこともやってたんですけれども、そんな感じでいろいろ載せてますので、ぜひ皆さん英語のソータインスタグラム見ていただければなと思うんですけれども、個人的にショーンは日本に住む外国人ということで、どんなものを日本で食べてるんだろうって個人的に気になったんですよね。こうシェパーズパイ食べてんかなとか本当にシェパーズプディングでしたっけ、そう何食べてんやろうって気になってたんですけど、実際はこうキッチンとかがね、やっぱ大きさが日本とイギリスで違うので、来た時にはこれじゃ作れないなと思って、もともとはよくイートアウト、外食をすることが多かったらしいですけれども、最近はライスクッカー、炊飯器にポーン入れて、ポーンでトマトを入れて、でパーンって食べるみたいなことをしてるって言ってましたので、そういうオープニングトークをしてましたね。発音に関してもね、こうアメリカ英語とイギリス英語と大きく違いますので、僕はアメリカ英語寄りなので、トメイロというとショーンがトマトみたいな、で僕はトメイロを言うとまたトマトっていうそのやり取りをさっきしてたんですけれども、ここまでのやり取りとしてはそういう感じでしたね。なので皆さんもぜひこう何か美味しいこれ作ったら楽だよみたいなものあれば、僕やショーンに教えていただければなと思います。So, Sean, are you ready?
I'm ready.
ソータと
ショーンの
台本なし英会話レッスン
Episode 151.
Okay, what is the topic for episode 151, Sean?
The topic for today is the Nike commercial.
はい、今回のお題はナイキの CM です。皆さんは今世の中で物議を醸しているこのナイキの CM をご存知でしょうか？僕も SNS でつい先日拝見しまして、すごく反対意見が多いという事実も知りまして、すごくいろいろなことを考えさせられました。で、ショーンもその動画を見たということだったので、急遽今回収録現場に来て、ナイキの動画見た？で、見たって聞いたので、もう何も詳細話さず、じゃあそれについて今日話そうっていう感じで僕たちでお題を決めさせていただきました。すごくセンシティブなお題になると思いますし、あくまで僕たちの一個人の意見という前提のもと皆さんにもお聞きいただいて、いろいろなことを一緒に考えて、またインスタグラムの台本なし英会話レッスンのアカウントもできてますので、そこのコメント欄にぜひ皆さんの感想も載せて、ツイッターでも構いませんのでシェアをしていただければなと思っています。その前にですね、少しだけアナウンスメントさせていただきたいんですが、アルクさんの連載記事第4回目が公開されました。今回は遊びに誘われた時の好印象な誘いの受け方や断り方、音声解説付きで英語のソータが解説をさせていただいています。リンクの方は概要欄に貼っておりますので見ていただくか、あるいは英語のソータアルクで調べていただくと出てきますので、飲みに行かない、お昼ご飯食べに行かないなど自然な誘い方、eat や have じゃなくて何を使うかであったり、断りたい時に丁寧にどうやったら断れるかなどたくさん使えるフレーズをシェアしているのでぜひご覧ください。Okay, so the topic for today is Nike's TV commercial. Not TV, sorry. Nike's commercial.
Yeah.
And then, first of all, you pronounce the word Nike?
Nike.
No, Nike.
Nike, yeah.
Very interesting. So only in England.
I think this is only in England, yeah, yeah. Even my American friends make fun of me. They say, oh, it's Nike. Why are you pronouncing it like Nike?
Okay.
Yeah.
はい、まず、ショーンがナイクって言ってたと思うんですけど、イングランド only England, not the UK.
I believe so. Yeah, well, the UK.
UK、
yeah.
イギリスではナイキをナイクと発音するんですって。はい、それ以外の地域ではナイキだと思うんですけれども、なので今回ショーンの発音はナイクになってると思うんですけれども、そういう背景のもととご理解ください。
I think the actual correct pronunciation is Nike. Because it comes from the Greek god of speed, I think it is. So in England we say Nike.
Nike.
But the correct pronunciation should be Nike.
Originally.
Originally,
Nike. So it's up to you if you want to be an England person. Like, you can call it Nike.
Nike or Nike.
But yeah.
Either's fine.
I'll get confused today because I'm Nike and Nike.
You can switch, it's fine, yeah.
Okay, then first of all, I think, most people, I believe most people have watched the video, but perhaps, some people haven't. So can you explain briefly what kind of video it is?
So, well, if you haven't seen the commercial, I guess what you could do is pause this podcast now. Go to YouTube.
Yes, check it out now.
Yeah, search. All you need to search for is Nike commercial, and it'll be the number one hit. It'll be right at the top.
Yes, so.
Yep. So we'll wait for you. Go and watch the video. Okay. Pause the video. Okay.
はい、
right.
見てきてください。
Okay. And you're back. Okay. So what did you think? But for those people who haven't seen the commercial, it's it kind of focuses on three teenage girls, I think it is, maybe four. I think it's three. Three teenage girls who are from different ethnic backgrounds. There's one that's half black, half Japanese, half Korean, half Japanese, and half Chinese and half Japanese, I think. And they're in school, and they're.
It doesn't have to be half.
Yeah, it could be.
Perhaps,
yeah, maybe, yeah. And it's focusing on their lives, at home, their parents are getting angry at them, or, problems at school, people bullying them. And then they go out onto the football field wearing Nike outfits, they play football, and that's how they deal with the problem, I think. And then at the end of the commercial, it says, you can't stop sport, and then sport is kind of crossed out and it says like us over the top, so you can't stop us. So yeah, that's the general idea of the commercial, I think.
Yes. はい。なので、まずこの動画をさっき pause, P-A-U-S-E, pause ですね。ポーズして見てきてくださいっていう、コメントがショーンから入ってたのと、見られてない方のために説明をするとという話今ありました。different, ethnical backgrounds. Can you spell ethnical?
Ethnical, E-T-H-N-I-C-A-L.
エスニカルバックグラウンドで、これ民族の背景、つまりいろんな民族背景、つまり人種の背景を持った、3人の女性だけじゃなかったと思うんですけど、女の子も男の子もいた気がするんですが、そういう CM になってます。で、いわば在日外国人の方が日本で差別であったりいじめを受けている現実もありますよというのを、スポーツと絡めてシェアしている広告なんですね。で、中国、アフリカ系の、黒人の方、あとは、朝鮮か韓国かっていう、在日日本にいらっしゃるその外国人で、ハーフかどうかは分からないですね。その親が両方ともその韓国人、中国人で日本に住んでるっていう可能性もあるでしょうし、ハーフっていう場合もあるでしょうが、とにかく日本じゃない血が入ってることによって学校とかいろんなシーンで差別やいじめを受けてしまう。でもどんな時もスポーツはみんなに平等で、スポーツがあると乗り切れてみたいな感じのメッセージを伝えようとしている動画なのかなと僕は捉えまして、そういう動画であるっていうことはまず皆さんにシェアしておきたいなと思います。純粋に So without listening to our discussions, please, first of all, watch it and then, please ask yourself, what do you think?What do I think about the video?
Yeah.
Then, I think this discussion or podcast will be more interesting for you.
Yeah.
But do you know why it's become a controversial issue in Japan?
Yeah, so I mean, that first of all, yeah, that's a good point. I really want people to just go without any information, just go and watch the video, see how you feel about it.And then come back to this podcast and have a listen.
まずは見てね、戻ってきてくださいね。で、自分でどう思うかまず考えてから聞いていただくとより面白いと思いますと。
Because I did this last week with One Way.
One Way.
Yeah.
My school.
Yeah. I prepare I always prepare my lessons the day before, really far in advance. And then it was on a Wednesday, I think the commercial was getting really popular. It had 11 million views or something.And that's when I kind of changed the lesson topic at the last second, which is very unusual for me. But the members that were in that class, I did the same thing. I showed them the video, no information, and I just showed them the video and said, what do you think? So are we going to talk about what our opinions?
We were talking about the reason why it became
controversial. So after I watched the video and I looked at the likes and dislikes button to see how much difference there was, it had 89,000 likes and 68,000 dislikes.
You remember that?
No, I've got it written down.
びっくりした。それ覚えてんかもってすげえなと思った。Okay.
But I saw that and I was like, wow, why so negative, So then I started looking at the comments, and obviously a lot of the comments were from people living in Japan, and a lot of them were kind of blaming Nike or accusing Nike, saying that why are you highlighting this as an issue in Japan? This is not a problem in Japan.And I thought, really? There are people who think like this, that what we've just seen in this video, they don't believe this exists? It's of course it exists. I've got lots of Japanese friends who, anytime I talk to them about their high school days or junior high school days, there is at least one or two stories about bullying or being bullied, right?
なるほど。なので、まずは、before sharing our thoughts or opinions, we are just explaining the, history of this video, what happened, or why it's becoming controversial. なので、まず僕たちの意見をシェアする前に、どういう状況が起きているのかっていうのを時系列で、シェアしてるんですが、まずは動画がどんなものだったのかを説明しました。で、次はなんでこれが日本で controversial っていう単語、ちょっと長いよ、タイプしてなかったね。Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Can you spell it?
Yeah. CONTROVERSIAL。
はい、すごいこれはよく使える単語なんですけど、物議を醸すなんとかとか、よく議題に上るなんとかとかっていう、いろんな、例えば racial problems are controversial なんとかとか、そういう感じで使える言葉ですね。なので物議を醸している、なんとかっていう今なんでこの話題がナイキの動画がコントロバーシャルになったのかっていうお話を次してたんですが、ショーンがYouTube で見たそのディスライクの数、まずパッと見た時にすごいディスライクが多いなと思ったと。で、コメント欄を見てみると、日本ではこんなこと起こってない、これが問題じゃないっていうようなコメントがある。それがゆえに日本人の方がすごい怒ってらっしゃる。それがゆえ炎上しているっていうような状況なんですね。あとはそこに僕の情報を付け加えさせていただくのであれば、日本を差別国家としているような、この描写が納得できないとか、こういう問題は日本だけじゃないはずだとか、どこの地域とかどこのコミュニティでもどこの国でもこういう差別は起こってるはずなのに、なんで日本だけにフォーカス当てるんだみたいなコメントも僕は SNS で見たかなと思ってます。これがなんで、その炎上してるかの理由と、あとは不買運動まで今は起こっていて、海外ではその不買運動をしてる日本人っていうところも放映されてると、知り合いから聞いたりもしました。そういう状況なんですよね。で、ショーンはちょうど僕のスクールのワンウェイでちょうどこの動画何も自分のこと言わずに、どう思いますかっていうのを見せたレッスンをちょうど先週ねしてくれてたりもして、ここから僕たちがどう思うのかっていうところをお話ししていければなと思うんですが、So actually we haven't talked about anything about this video. So I just came in this room and I asked him, Sean, did you see the Nike Kids video? And then he said yes. Then I said, okay, let's talk about it without any preparation or discussion.
Yeah, so I didn't even know what you felt about it.
Yeah,
or
me
anything.
neither.
So,
I don't know how you would react to this video
Yeah.
either. And then, if I could add some more information, I saw people who are saying this is not happening only in Japan.
Yes.
So in any communities or in any countries, those discriminations are happening. But why did Nike make this international video and make it public to the world? Yeah, that kind of comment too. I saw them.
Yeah.
And also, don't call Japan as a country of discrimination.
Yes.
Or I saw that kind of comment.
Yeah, those are the kind of comments that I was seeing. Don't blame Japan. This is not as bad as your this happens everywhere.
And one more thing, Japanese people are starting, not buying Nike's items.
I saw that. Yeah.
And then that kind of problems are aired in other countries on news.
Yeah, that happens a lot too. When somebody refuses to buy a product from a company because of whatever reason, we say boycott. BOYCOT. If you boycott something. Lots of people are boycotting Nike now because of this. I saw the Japanese comments saying that I'm never going to buy Nike stuff again. Which, if that's how they feel, that's their opinion. Okay, fine.
Okay, so let's focus on how we feel. So how was your first reaction? ここから僕も全然ショーンがどう思ってるのか知らないまま今収録始まってるので、ショーンはどう思いましたか?
Well, I thought it was good. I went into the video not knowing any of the information. I watched it and I was like, okay, it's highlighting the point of bullying, which I know about being an issue in Japan because my Japanese friends have told me about how they've been bullied. So I guess this is happening quite a lot. And then people in the video who are from different backgrounds are using sport to kind of remove themselves from those problems or to cope with those problems. And then at the end of the video, it's like, yeah, sports and Nike, it's the way that you can escape from your problems. I thought, oh, okay, that's fine. I thought it was a kind of positive video. How about you?
Same,
right?
I felt nothing about it.
Yeah.
First of all, if I didn't know what was going on at the time, I probably would have said I feel nothing about it because it's just highlighting one problem.
Yeah.
And we can just study and learn from it. And for example, there are such discrimination in Japan, so we gotta be careful of what we say.
Yeah.
Or if there are some people who are experiencing like that, we need to help them out.
Yeah.
So we can I was probably saying like that without knowing the facts, so I feel nothing about it. That's my answer first.
Well, I wouldn't say that you feel nothing, but I guess you feel like indifferent. Like you don't have any strong opinion like, oh, what an amazing commercial, but you weren't angry about it. You weren't like, oh my God, I'm never buying Nike again. You were just indifferent.
Yeah, indifferent. It's just one of advertisements.
Yeah.
If I didn't know the controversial issues everyone is talking about now, yeah. But after knowing the fact everyone is blaming, I was able to feel a lot of things because this commercial, it's just introducing to us what's happening in Japan. So I was able to learn and then nothing. I felt something.
Felt something, yeah.
Can you spell indifferent?
Indifferent, INDIFFERENT.
はい、無関心なというような言葉ですが、まずどこからいきますと、ショーンはどこからいこうかなって今考えてたんですが、ショーンは、見たときに、すごいいい動画じゃんと思ったと。で、自分の知り合いで日本人の方でも日本でやっぱり在日外国人ということによって差別されたりとかした経験はある、いじめられた経験もあると聞いたことがあるので、そういうところにハイライト、後でスペルしてもらいますが、焦点を当てる、フォーカスを当ててるっていうのはとてもいいことなんじゃないかとショーンは感じたと。で、ソータはどうだったと聞かれたんですが、僕も最初の回答として何も感じなかったっていう。で、この何も感じなかったっていうのは、もしこの動画がこんな風に話題になってなくてパッと見たとしたら、おそらく何にも感じてなかったと思う。で、別にいいも悪いもなく、よくあるテレビ CM の一つっていう風に捉えてただろうなっていうお話をしてました。で、nothing、何も感じてなかったの？つまり indifferent、無関心、そんなに別に何の反応もないぐらい、ある意味興味がなかった感じなのかなっていう感じでショーに聞かれたんですが、もしこの状況を知らずにですよ、パッと見たらそんなになんでしょうね、こういう問題もあるよねっていうのはもちろん考えますけど、ネガティブな悪い感情は何も感じてなかっただろうなっていう意味のnothing なんですけど、何も感じてなかったと思います。ただこういう問題が起きてると知って見てみると、何がダメなんだろうとかっていう感じで見るじゃないですか。そうやって見るともちろん nothing ではなくて something、 何かを感じることもあって、僕としてはこういうこともあるんだなとか、気をつけないといけないな、自分の行動発言にはなおさらとか、困ってる人がいたら助けないといけないなっていうふうに、思うっていうのが僕たちのリアクションだったんですが、 So both of us have the same opinions.
Yeah.I think so, yeah. And the spelling that you asked me for, highlight.
Highlight.
Yeah, HIGHLIGHT.
Yes. これでそこにハイライトするみたいな、光を当てるとか、フォーカス当てるっていうような意味ですね。両方ともね、僕たち同じ価値観だったので、ディスカッションがね、二手に分かれてっていう感じではできないんですが、ここからもう少し会話を掘り下げていければなと思うんですが、So one more time.What's the problem with that? What's wrong with it?
Yeah. Well, first is the one problem where we have, the far right-wing people who believe that Japan is perfect and that the only problem is that there's foreigners in the country and they should be kicked out, right? Those are the extreme right-wing people. And I think that well, from what the one-way members told me, is that usually people who use Twitter, like the majority, are usually like leaning towards the kind of right side. People who use Instagram tend to lean towards the left. Apparently.
Really?
Yeah, that's
Interesting.
that's what they told me. I was like, okay, that sounds interesting, but yeah. So that's why I think the reaction on Twitter was very negative, like because of that kind of political part of it, maybe. From what I could tell from some of the other comments was this kind of new-ish concept called virtue signaling. Virtue signaling. Signaling, yeah. Virtue, V-I-R-T-U-E.
美徳ですね。
Signaling, S-I-G-N-A-L-L-I-N-G.
What does virtue signaling?
Yeah, virtue signaling. Virtue signaling is where you publicly express your opinion or like some kind of sentiment. So in this case, Nike saying discrimination is bad, bullying is bad. So they're showing this kind of strong virtue, this good thing, saying, yeah, you shouldn't bully, right? But they're not doing it to be nice. They're doing it to improve their image. So they're doing it to make people go, oh, wow, yeah, Nike, good job. Yeah, that's a really good thing. We will buy Nike products because of that. That's what virtue signaling is, where you express your opinion to make yourself look good. Yeah, so I think that's what Nike are doing here. But that also upset a lot of people because then people in the comments were saying, okay, well, Nike, you're saying bullying is bad, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, in the past, you have used, sweatshops in China and,
China.
exploitation and those kind of terrible things too. So you can't be a company who says this thing is terrible, this thing is really bad, whilst at the same time doing something equally as terrible, right?
Uyghur or that part, right? Uyghur, do you know
Uyghur.
the parts in China?
Oh no,
Which
I don't.
part?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, but anyways, they were forcing to work hard.
Oh, I see. So yeah, that's the kind of
one you were
thing.
talking
Yeah.
about, right?
So like in the comments, I don't know the details about like Nike's history or whatever. But yeah, like that kind of child exploitation, like workers in terrible conditions. But yeah, I mean those things are terrible too. But it's you can't be a company who says, oh, this thing is really bad, this thing is terrible, and then also doing terrible things yourself, right?
なるほど。なので、まずどこからいきましょうかね。virtue signaling。僕もこの言葉自体、単語と単語は分かっても、この言葉自体が使い方がちょっと聞いたときに分からなくて、
It's
ショーに聞いてたん
kind
で
of
すけど。
new word, so
New word.
yeah.
なるほどね。virtue っていうのは美徳とかっていう意味で、signaling っていうのはシグナル、表すとかっていうああいう感じのイメージだと思うんですよね。virtue signaling がどういうことなのかっていうと、例えばナイキがやってることとして、こういう差別はしちゃダメだよっていうふうにいいシーンを使って結局自分の商品であったり、企業イメージっていうものを上げようとしている。これがvirtue signaling っていうみたいですね。日本語の訳がちょっと今パッて僕の力量不足で浮かばないんですが、virtue signaling の意味としてはそういう意味ですね。なので、なんでこれが炎上したのかっていうその一つの理由として、この virtue signaling をしてる、ナイキに対してすごい批判が起こってるんじゃないかっていうことでしたね。あとは僕もコメント欄で見たんですけど、これも確かかどうかまでは分かんないんですけど、ショーも言ってた中国の地域で強制労働をしてる、過去の、事例もあった。僕もウイグル地区の人たちを強制的に働かせて商品を作っている、そういうのもやってたくせにみたいなコメントも確かに見たので、でもこれに関しては深くそれについて僕は調べたわけでもないので詳細はわからないんですが、人としてはそういう指摘もしながら、そのコマーシャルを否定していたっていうことでしたね。 なので、あるいは最初にもお伝えしたそういう差別があるのは日本だけじゃない、そんな中こういう広告を打っちゃうとやっぱり日本のイメージが下がるっていう、それも確かに批判の理由の一つなんだろうなと思ってます。So far we focus on the reason why it's becoming controversial, virtue signaling, and also, as you said, I think there are some people who don't want foreigners or, people living in other countries to think Japan is that kind of country.
Yeah. They don't want them to have that negative image, right?
Yeah. But still, what do you think?
I like with the if I just saw the commercial without any controversy or anything by itself, I would probably have the same reaction as you, like just indifferent. Oh, it's just a Nike commercial, right? I wouldn't think much of it. But I think because of the heated reaction that it's got and the amount of conversation that's taking place around it, I've kind of become interested in it and as to why people are having such a strong negative reaction about it. That's what I'm curious about. I don't fully understand it myself. But I think over the next few weeks I'll probably look into it a bit more.
Me too. Yeah, I was also really curious about how, people who have those negative impression think about this problem. So, no offense, I just want to listen to their opinions. そうなので、ここから本当に僕たちの個人的な意見になると思うんですけど、ショーンもなんでこれがネガティブなのか分かんないと。で、こんなにコントロバーシャルになってなければ、ショーンもインディファレント、ただ一つのナイキの CM っていう風に見てただろうし、問題になった上で見てみたら、なんでこれがそんなにトラブルになってるんだろうっていう風に疑問に思うと。で、僕も同じくで、純粋になんでこれがそんなに、問題になってるのかが分からなくて、no offense 悪い意味じゃなく本当にその反対意見を持ってらっしゃる方の気持ちを純粋に知りたいなとも思ってるんですよね。なのでぜひコメント欄とかでもシェアをしていただいてお互いに敬意は持って攻撃するような形ではなくて意見交換できればなとは思ってるんですが、僕としては一日本人としてね本当に個人の意見を言わせていただくとSo, as one of the Japanese persons, I want to say my opinion. So, I think Japan should be a country where there is a diversity and flexibility and acceptance.
Yeah.
But, I realized that now it's not enough. And then we are not ready.After seeing those reactions.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, a lot of people are trying to say we should be a kind of global country, but technically we're not ready yet unless we fully accept each other and then try to know the difference and the diversity. So as one of the Japanese persons, I'm really, really sad about those negative reactions. So if we can improve our country and then our national intelligence or those things, I think we need to learn and study and accept those differences more and more. So I'm really sad about this reaction actually.
Yeah, I think, Japan, it's an island, of course, and for hundreds of years, Japan was closed off to the rest of the world. So whilst the rest of the world was experiencing this kind of mixing of cultures and cross cultures and races and stuff mixing together, Japan was always just by itself. So for the longest time, everyone in Japan was Japanese, but even now. We're talking hundreds of years later. It's something crazy like 97% of Japan is like Japanese, and then only 3% are foreigners. But judging from what I've seen in news articles and things that I've read, that percentage is increasing every year, but only marginally, 0.5%, every year. The majority is still Japanese, in Japan. So I think Japan is making progress towards this idea that you want, where everybody just accepts different societies and different cultures. But I still think it's going to take at least another generation, I think, because like that, the generations as they get older still have that old mindset of, this is how Japan is, this is how it always has been. And this new wave, this new generation, like, again, I keep talking about the one-way members, but it's great. It's such a great school because we have, such a great range of generations. I teach people who are like teenagers, early 20s, with people who are like in their 50s and 60s. And it's great to just hear both of their opinions and how drastically different they both think,
right.
So I think, Japan is making that progress towards change like you want. I just think it's going to take like another generation to be fully accepting of it.
That's true. なのでちょっと役も長くなると思うんですが、僕の本当に個人的な意見を言わせていただくのであれば、本当にリアクションを見て僕は個人的に悲しかったです。で、なぜかというと、まだまだ日本はこういう国なんだなっていうのを思い知らされたと言いますか、多分これを聞かれてる方々は僕たちと同じ思考だと思うんですよね。こう海外にも視野を向けていろんな違いを受け入れようとして、で誰しも僕も含めですけどまだまだ完璧じゃないじゃないですか。こう人生歩んでいく上でこういう違いもあるんだ、まだ自分では受け入れられないところもあるけれどもちょっとずつ知ろうとしていこうとか受け入れようとしていこうっていうそういう体制が僕も含め、あるいはこの番組はいろんな方々が聞いてくださってると思うので、上の年齢層の方々も含め考えてくださってると思うんですよね。ただ問題はやっぱりこういう番組を聞かれてない方々、日本は完璧だって思ってたり、あるいは、さっきもショーンが出てた言葉ですよね。Japan is perfect と思ってる人もいたり、あとは違いを受け入れる、さっき僕 acceptance って言ってましたが、こう受け入れ合うこと、あとは diversity、多様性、あとはなんて言ってたかな、ちょっと言葉忘れちゃったんですけど、そういうこう他者を受け入れ合うっていう体制がまだまだこの日本って整ってないんだなっていうのがそのリアクションから感じました。なのでショーンが言ってたのはそのワンウェイの、レッスンでうちで働いてくれていてこうあるのが、僕もすごくワンウェイのいいなと思うところが10代20代30代40代50代60代70代70代の方までですかね、全層いらっしゃるんですよね。でそういう方々がいろんなトピックに関して自分の意見をシェアし合うんですよね。で例えば20代の方はそんな考え古いってもしかしたら50代の方の意見を仮に思ったにしても、なるほどそういう考えもあるんだなっていうのを20代の方も視野を広げたり、逆に50代の方からするとそんな若い考えって思うかもしれないけれども、今の若い方々はこういう考えなんだなっていうのを受け入れ合う雰囲気がすごい整ってるんですね。でこれが僕がこの番組作りであったりお仕事をしたり、あるいは普段自分が生きていく上で大切にしていることで、まだまだこうみんなそれぞれ僕も含め完璧ではないと思うんですけど、人の話を聞いたりとか、こういう違いもあるんだ、受け入れていこうっていう体制が整ってるか整ってないかっていう、ここってすごい大きな違いがあると思うんですよね。そういう意味でこのナイキの番組じゃなくて CM を見た時に僕としてはこういう問題もあるんだ、自分も何かここから学べないかなっていうその受け入れる体制にまずは変えることってできないのかなっていうのは僕個人的に思ってます。でその受け入れるところから人を理解し始めて多様性の社会になって、でみんながお互いをこう思い合う平和な世の中づくりの第一歩になっていくんじゃないかなと僕は個人的に思っているので、それでいつもお伝えしている僕のやりたい仕事の究極のポイントはこう多様性を作る、そういう社会づくりに貢献することなので、僕としてはなんかこのCM がこんなに炎上してしまったのはすごい恥ずかしいですし、海外でもそれがこう取り上げられているのはなんてこう視野の狭い国なんだって思われないかなって、逆に恥ずかしいなって思ってます。I'm so ashamed actually of this country or the negative reaction because once we start try to accept other people's opinions, we can know each other and we can help each other, and then we can make this country or this world more peaceful. But those people who have negative opinions reject accepting any opinions or any differences. So in that way, I'm a little ashamed.
Well, no, like, first of all, I don't think you should be ashamed.
Really?
At all. Yeah, because this is not just Japan. This is every country. Like, even in England, I see some comments, I see some posts like on Twitter or Facebook from people in the UK about immigration and about like racism, and I just think like, wow, that is awful. Like, that's so terrible, and I do feel like a bit ashamed, but. Luckily, I hope and I want to believe that those opinions of those people are in the minority.
Really?
Yeah. I think that the majority of people are the ones who are open-minded and willing to accept other things. Like you just mentioned then, like when you were speaking Japanese, like addressing the audience, like the people that should be thinking about this type of topic are not the ones who listen to this podcast or the people who take one-way lessons, because I again like to think that everybody who listens to this podcast, everybody who takes one-way lessons, are open-minded people. They have that interest in other cultures, of course, because you want to study English, which is great. So you guys are not the problem.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't feel ashamed for other people, because like we talked about last week, we don't have control over other people. They are going to think like that. We can't really change their opinion or anything like that, but it's just going to take time, and that's the only thing we can do.
Yeah, but in the case of other countries like America or the UK, they're really used to the different background or different races.
You'd be surprised, I think.
Yeah, they are at least kind of used to them.
Even now, I don't think they are.
Really?
Yeah. Like last week, Sainsbury's, the supermarket, they released a Christmas commercial. It's similar to this topic, right? This Christmas commercial had like a black family in London sitting down enjoying Christmas dinner, and the amount of negative comments on there, it's the same as this. Why are you showing a black family? This is not English, and I'm never shopping at Sainsbury's ever again. And I was thinking, good, don't go to Sainsbury's. Like, we don't want you. I think just because a country has more foreigners or more diversity, I don't think it equals to acceptance on any level, because there are always going to be those people who disagree.
Yeah. But in my opinion, like in Japan, so as I said, my point was we are not so used to those racial differences. So at least they are so indifferent, and then they don't even know what's happening. So those, a lot of people said, oh, we didn't know there are such people who
completely
exist in Japan.
Yeah, completely unaware.
For me, from my perspective, one of the huge problems is that, they don't even know. And then in your case, probably in Western countries, I think that's a majority.
I see.
Of people who are against those racial negative reactions.
Yeah.
But in the case of Japan, even if we don't say they're rejecting, probably the majority is people who are indifferent.
Yeah.
So in that way, I said I'm a little ashamed.
Yeah.
Because in Japan, actually, we don't know which is majority.
Right.
Actually, perhaps those people who are against the Nike commercial could be majority in Japan. So in any situations, I always feel people sometimes don't help, and then they are indifferent. I think the problem is indifferent in Japan.
I think so, yeah. Maybe what we should do is just, me and you should go out into the streets and just show random people the commercial and see how many people get angry and how many people...
feel nothing, I guess.
They might not say anything, perhaps.
Yeah. So that's why I said I'm ashamed of the reaction. So I don't know the exact number, but the majority could be indifferent and against. So I think, as I said, the persons who are listening to this program are, open-minded. But in Japan, still, it's really
Close.
yeah, and small amount of people. So my hope is that I want as many people as possible to listen to this episode or at least think about this, then try to, make this country, more diverse.
Yeah, maybe share this podcast with somebody who you think could benefit from it. Maybe.
そうなのでさっきねこの ashamed っていう言葉からこう今ディスカッションがあったわけなんですけども Can you spell it?
Ashamed. A-S-H-A-M-E-D.
こう恥ずかしいっていうような言葉ですけれども、僕はその同じ日本人としてこうダイバーシティがこう表されたこの動画が批判されてで不買運動までしてるっていうのが海外に流れてしまって僕は個人的にすごい同じ日本人として恥ずかしいなって思っちゃったんですよね。でショーンが言ってくれたのは恥って思うことはないよと。なんでかっていうとどこの国にもそういう人はいるからと。で大体そういう反対してる人っていうのはこうマイノリティで、人種とかこういうのをちゃんと考えていこうっていう人が、マジョリティのはずだから恥ずかしく思う必要はないよっていうふうに言ってくれてたんですよね。でショーンとしてはこの番組を聞いてくれてる人たちはオープンマインディッドだと思うし、絶対日本でもマジョリティの人はこれを反対してないと思うよだから恥って言わなくていいよって言われたんですけどいや一日本人として僕は感じるのは海外のケースと違うよと結構一日本人として思うのはまだまだその人種の違いっていうところに慣れてないのでそもそも関心自体がない方の方がマジョリティで、そこにこれ反対って言ってる人々を足すともしかしたら日本の場合は、これを賛成するっていう人の方がマイノリティになる可能性もあるよっていうお話をしてたんですよね。なので僕も正確な数字はわからないですしこれだけの問題に限ったことではないですけれども日本ってまだまだやっぱりこう、いろんな人種の人がいるっていう事実あるいは、その人種の人たちがいた時に、こう助けてあげるあるいはじゃあ日本で違う国の人が差別受けたとします日本で道で何人の人がこう海外みたいにやめろよって助けてあげれるって思った時に僕はマジョリティの人がインディフェレンス無関心で無視すると思うんですよね。そういう意味ではこういう問題は考えていかないといけないとかもっとこうそういう困っている人たちを助けようって思う人たちは日本では僕はマイノリティだと思うんですよねまだまだ。つまり僕は何が言いたいのかっていうとこの番組を聞いてくださっている皆さんとか僕たちはやっぱりそういうのをいろんな違いを受け入れられる体制が整っている人材だと思うんですよね。だからこそ僕たちができることはせめて僕たちだけでも考えて何か行動に移すことであったり、この番組をシェアしてもらってそういうこと自体に興味がない人に僕はリーチさせるのが一番大切だと思うので、そういう日本がいいっていう考えを持つのも大切だけれどもそれと同時にこういう問題もあるんだっていう受け入れる体制を整えていく努力を僕たちから始めていかないといけないんじゃないかっていうのが僕のポイントなんですよね。So for example, I often see the kind of prank or experimental video in other countries like racial discrimination is happening. And then, people who are walking on the street help, those people. But in Japan, almost nobody will do that. That's what I said, like minority.
Right,
and then indifference.
Yeah. I think that's a very good point. I actually think that would be a good topic for another podcast, I think. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I think because of Japanese culture and tradition, it seems to be more I think it seems more common for people just to try and ignore something like a bad situation without actually saying something and having any confrontation. Whereas in foreign countries somebody might step in and say, hey, stop that, don't do that, or something, right?
Yeah, so perhaps people who don't say anything have no ideas. So that's why perhaps it might be better than people who have negative opinions on that.
Yeah, I think so.
We should discriminate against Chinese people or, Japanese people are not like that.
No,
Just
yeah.
indifference.
Indifferent, yeah.
なんか救いだなと思うのは、ある意味日本人って無関心なだけで、結構海外とかみたいにこの人種の人は絶対ダメだみたいな、そういう意見を思いっきり言う人っていうのも少ないと思うんですよね。まあでも、こう欧米人に対してはこう何も言わないけれども、結構アジア諸国の人に対しては僕は日本人ってすごい差別きついなと思うところがいろんなところであるので、まあ、それはあるのかもしれないのと、やっぱり道でこう人種差別を受けてる人がいたら、どれだけの人が日本人がやめなよって助けてあげるのかっていうと、やっぱりそこは海外と比べると少ないんじゃないかなと思うので、まあ、このエピソードから皆さんもこういろんなことを考えていただけたら嬉しいなと思うのと、なんか僕の知り合いでもこう昔ねちょっとお付き合いが何ですか友達としてあった方で、最近はこうやり取りしなくなったんですけど、なんでかっていうと、もう世界にこう意識が向いてないで、もう日本のことにしか意識が向いてなくて、まあ、それはそれでいいと思うんですけど、なんか全部海外なんて行ってどうするのとか、でもこんな人が世の中にはいてこういう人もいるんだよって言っても、そういう日本にしか意識を向いてない方って、そういう人たちのことを知ろうともしない、問題を解決しようともしない、考えようともしない、あ、こういう日本人もいるんだなっていうのをすごいいろんなところで感じた時があったんですよね。で、こういう人が日本に多いと世の中ってこうダイバーシティってまだまだ先だなと思ったことがあったんですよね。そういう意味で本当にいろんな価値観あって本当にいいとは思うんですけど、せめてこの番組を聞いてくださっている方々は、なんかこういろんな国の違いを知ろうとしたり、考えようとしたり、受け入れようとしたり、あるいは多分そういうのって新しいこういうテクニックがテクノロジーが発展した時に、こういうの挑戦してみようと思う方と、多分もういいじゃん今のままでっていう方々にも分かれると思うんですよね。なのでこういろんなところに派生するこのお題として、何かこう知ろうとする、挑戦しようとしてみる、そこからこう人を助けようとしてみる、あるいはいろんなアプリができたら使ってみるとかっていう、こういうオープンマインディッドの心を持っていろんなものを見ることは大切なんじゃないかなって僕は今一度考えさせられました。 So my last word, I have an experience when I met a kind of guy who was my friend,
Yeah.
and then he often said, oh, what's going to happen if you travel abroad, or why do you want to go abroad?
Right.
And then Japan is the best country, so I don't want to even know about other people living in other countries.
Yeah.
Then he was so narrow-minded.
Yeah.
So I gave up, staying in touch with him,
Yeah.
because it was not interesting at all. And even if I said, I went to this country, what do you think about this photo? Oh, I don't care.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't even think about social problems
Yeah.
which are happening in the world. So my point is that I think it's really related to this problem. In Japan, there are such people, and yeah, of course in other countries too, there are those people too, but I think the majority, I don't know if it's majority or minority, but at least we have that kind of people. So by everyone listening to this episode, I want everyone to think about how you can influence other people in a good way, and then for example trying new applications, or trying to know people. Those kinds of open-minded actions are really important, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Knowledge is power.
Do you really think so?
Yeah, knowledge is power. Expanding your mind, staying open-minded, I think is the best. I had the same thing in England. I knew a guy who I'd known since primary school. Went to the same high school, and I knew him. Still speak to him now, but he's just lived in the same hometown. And I say to him, "Oh, are you going traveling next year? Are you doing it?" No, okay. You got any friends who are going traveling? No. Okay. Are you interested in? No. Okay, fine. They're just they're happy just being coasting along.
なるほどね。
So.
やっぱイングランドでもねそういう方、どこの国でもねそういう方は絶対いらっしゃると思うんですけど、僕が一番なんかすごいなと思うのはワンウェイの方とかってさ、ショーン日本語で行くけど、こう50代とかさ60代の方とかでも全部知ろうとしたり、今の若い方はそういう考えなんですねっていう方々が多くて、僕本当に尊敬してるんですよね。僕より年上の方々とか、もちろん若い方々もそうですけど、でうちの母親も僕はこういう仕事をしてることもあって結構普段からいろんな多様性のことをこうネットで調べたりしてて、最近はアカデミー賞がこう人種とか平等にこう賞が行き渡るようになったんだってとか、そういう情報を、50代とか60代でもこう目を向けて考えようとしてることって本当にすごいことだなって、ワンウェイの方もそうですし、うちの母親にも言ってるんですよね。こういうのどんどん若い人の視野を広げるような情報は受け入れないといけないよっていう話をして、こう今それを思い出したので、僕もいくつになってもなんかいろんな意見を受け入れられるような人間になれればなと思うので、ぜひ皆さんも今回のエピソードを聞いてこう多様性を考えていただけるような、エピソードになってると嬉しいなと思います。でも僕たちの意見を無理やり押し付けたいわけではないので、 I don't want to force you to think like this.
everyone can form their own opinion.
なのでこうどう感じてるかっていうのはまたこうコメント欄からぜひシェアしていただければと思います。では皆さん、今日のエピソードはいかがでしたでしょうか？楽しんでいただけてると嬉しいです。でも途中ねちょっと僕も熱くなったので enthusiastically I was explaining a lot.
We've had like 2 episodes now back to back which are quite deep and heavy topics. Happiness. So maybe next week we should talk about sandwiches or something.
or snacks or zombies or そんな感じね。はい、ぜひ皆さん、今日のエピソードの感想、英語のソータで検索しますと Instagram、Twitter、YouTube 出ますので、そこからぜひシェアしていただいたり、番組の感想は台本なし英会話レッスン専用 Instagram アカウントで、台本なし英会話って調べてもらうと出てくると思うので、コメント欄に残していただければと思います。ショーンは、ショーン・ブラッドリー1986、で、出てきますので、ぜひフォローしてみてください。では皆さん、また次回のエピソードでお会いしましょう。バイ。